Global citizen and the globalization era. What is global citizenship? Global citizenship is the idea that one's identity, political borders, and that responsibilities or rights are delivered from membership in a broader class, humanity. But that's not to say that a person's nationality or other, more local identities are not at all important, but the identities are given second place to their membership in the global community. We have seen in this era, globalization, the rise of transnational supply chains, the information revolution, and institutions such as the World Trade Organization. The rights of global citizenship. The rights of global citizens are embedded in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, first drafted in 1948 after World War II. The core nature of the Universal Declaration grounded in individual liberty, equality, and equity has remained constant. Also, new rights that were not on the 1948 Human Rights Agenda have emerged. For example, digital access rights, LGBT rights, and environmental rights. Some people cite the emergence of new rights and changing political system as calling for the need of an updated Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The 8 responsibilities of global citizenship. Number 1. Responsibility to understand one's own perspective and the perspective of others on global issues. Almost every global issue has multiple ethnic, social, political, and economic perspective attached to it. It is the responsibility of global citizens to understand these different perspectives and promote problem-solving consensus among the different perspectives, the building of common ground solution. Number 2. Responsibility to respect the principle of cultural diversity. The multiple perspectives that exist with most global issues often are a reflection of different cultural belief systems. Each of our major cultural belief systems brings value added to our search for solution of the global issues we face. In building a sustainable values-based world community, it is important to maintain respect for the world's different cultural traditions. Number 3. Responsibility to make connections and build relationships with people from other countries and cultures. Global citizens need to reach out and build relationships with people from other countries and cultures. Otherwise, we will continue to live in isolated communities with narrow conflict-prone points of view of global issues. It's quite easy to build global relationships. Most countries, cities, and towns are now populated with immigrants and people from different ethnic traditions. Number 4. Responsibility to understand the ways in which the peoples and countries of the Philippines are interconnected and interdependent. Global citizens have the responsibility to understand the many ways in which their lives are interconnected with people and countries in different parts of the world. They need, for example, to understand the ways in which the global environment affects them where they live, and how the environmental lifestyle they choose affects the environment in the parts of the world. Number 5. Responsibility to understand global issues. Global citizens have the responsibility to understand the major global issues that affects their lives. For example, they need to understand the impact of the scarcity of resources on societies. Number 6. Responsibility to advocate for greater international cooperation with other nations. Global citizens need to play activist roles in urging greater international cooperation between their nation and others. When a global issue arises, it is important for global citizens to provide advice on how their countries can work with other nations to address these issues. Number 7. Responsibility for advocating for the implementation of international agreements, conventions, treaties related to global issues. Global citizens have the responsibility to advocate for having their countries ratify and implement the global agreements, conventions, and treaties that they have signed. Number 8. Responsibility for advocating for more effective global equity and justice in each of the value domains of the world community. A growing number of cross-sector issues that require the implementation of global standards of justice and equity. For example, the global rise in military spending, the unequal access by different countries to technology, the lack of consistent national policy on immigration. The role of global citizenship. References to globalization not only remind us that the people are increasingly connected throughout the world, but they are also a reminder that trade liberalization, new technology, and localized activity aimed at the global markets all mean that the role of the states and the fora where states do business are changing.